Hey, everybody. Welcome to Hattrick's Unofficial Flyers podcast. I'm Rick Mullen. I'll be your host today. And we are going to go over round two of the Stanley Cup playoffs, game two, Philadelphia Flyers versus the Carolina Hurricanes. And much better showing for the Flyers last night. They had a much better game after game one. Unsure what we were going to look like. It was a really tough game one. The Flyers really didn't have much at all. That was good to talk about that game. But last night was a better game, but sadly, it's the same outcome. So Flyers lose 3-2 in overtime, but they scored, which was great. They scored two goals real quick, very beginning of the game, and then just couldn't get any more as the rest of the game went on. But let's talk about some stats real quick. The Flyers had 36 shots to Carolina's 43. The Flyers had 49 hits to Carolina's 48. Penalty minutes were 14 for the Flyers and 16 for Carolina. And at the faceoff dot, the Flyers struggled last night. Carolina won 60.3% of the faceoffs to the Flyers 39.7%. Big difference there in the faceoffs. First period, at the 4:02 mark, Jamie Drysdale on a power play. It was a power play goal. I thought, oh man, look at this. We finally got a power play goal. Maybe we're turning this thing on. Maybe we figured this out. But Jamie gets an unassisted power play goal at the 4:02 mark. And then a little while later, not much longer, at the 4:41 mark. So roughly 40 seconds, 41 seconds, something like that, 39 seconds later, Sean Couturier from Carl Grunstrom. He scores. Grunstrom went behind the net with the puck. Cooter was out front. He was using his body to fight for space, and Grunstrom threw it out front right on the Couturier stick, and Coots goes and buries it and makes the game 2-0. So Flyers are looking good. 5 minutes into the period, they're up 2-0, and they were taking it at the Carolina Hurricanes. At the 10:21 mark of the first period, Nikolai Ehlers scores on the power play from Jackson Blake and Andrew Miller, and that ends the period 2-1. Going into the second period, good game. We're going to go talk a little more details as we go by. We're just going to round up the boring stuff here. But second period, no goals scored by either team. So it's still 2-1 Flyers going into the third. We get to the 11:21 mark of the third period, and sadly, Seth Jarvis scores from Nikolai Ehlers and Jordan Staal. He ties the game 2-2 with just about 8.5 minutes left in the game. Man, that was so tough. That goal was just biting my fingernails watching this game, thinking, "Oh my God, come on, just get through this period, just get through this period." And sadly, the Flyers couldn't. Carolina ties it. We are going to overtime. Overtime was pretty good. It was really good. The Flyers struggled through most of the game a little bit again. Like they are trying to play with this Carolina team, and they are. They are. They're really doing good. There was a point there where Carolina was really out shooting them, but towards the end of the game, it kind of evened up. But the Flyers played way better. Way better. Matvei Mishkov had a decent game. He had, I think, like 4 shots on net. Sean Couturier is still probably our best offenseman out there, and he's on the fourth line. Coots had 5 shots on net and a goal. They gave it everything they got. Nobody can be disappointed in this team. I mean, yeah, there were 2 breakaways during that game. One stuck out more than the other because it was in overtime, but Matvei Mishkov went in. He had an opportunity in regular time to get up another goal, and he took a good shot, but Anderson saved it. And going into overtime, the Flyers came out in overtime and they were all over Carolina. I mean, it was definitely a Flyers overtime. Like the Flyers were playing much harder. They were playing to win, and they took it at the Hurricanes. And it was really good to see. I thought, man, it's just a matter of time before we drop one here and win this game. TK, and there's If you listen to other podcasts, there's a lot of heat on TK right now. Everyone's kind of telling him he needs to do more. He's the guy, the veteran presence. He's the rat. He's, leading the stuff on the ice. However, he was one of the biggest players saying, like, I'm just tired of losing. I'm just tired of losing. We need to get to the playoffs. And he hasn't produced real well in the playoffs at all. There are thoughts that he's a little banged up. And there's people out there calling him out that, you can't say you're tired of losing. Then you get finally to the playoffs and you don't contribute much. And he's not a playoff performer yet. Of the few playoff games that he had, he's really doesn't have many points, many goals. So this was an opportunity for TK to put the puck where his mouth is, I guess, to say, and get a goal, close this game down, do something to win this game. And he had the opportunity. He had a breakaway. It was him and Anderson. In all honesty, when I watched it, really, to me, looked like TK was completely unsure how much time he had. I don't think he was sure if there was somebody on him or not. And he took a wrist shot from a little further out than I would have liked to see him take. And Anderson may have got a little piece on it. Some people are saying that it was shot wide. Pretty much everyone was saying it missed the net. But the stat shows that TK got a shot off. It must have hit the goalie. The goalie had to save it to get a stat, and he missed. He missed. He had the game winner on his puck in overtime, on his stick in overtime, and he couldn't bury it. So anyhow, going into that overtime period, that's heartbreaking. It was 18:54 mark. Taylor Hall comes down and he goes through the crease, and Jackson Blake and Sean Walker, and he scores kind of like a greasy, gritty goal in front. And, nobody thought nothing of it. Everyone thought, okay, game's over. Everyone kind of stood around a little bit, and Vladar was upset. He was standing there hoping there may have been a call or something, but there wasn't, and he finally skated off. Looking at some replays today, I don't know. There's some people saying it was definitely goalie interference. I think it was. I'm not positive. I think it was Jackson Blake when Vladar has his glove hand over the puck. Jackson Blake's stick comes in over Vladar's wrist, and the puck gets knocked out. And then he leans down on the stick, so Vladdy can't get his hand out to get back. I guess to move. And during that little bit of time where Vladdy's hand stuck on the ice because it's pinned by this Hurricane player's stick, the puck gets pushed into the net by Taylor Hall, and game's over. So that's a tough one. It was a really tough one. I mean, Rick Tocchet could have said something. Maybe he didn't see it, maybe he didn't recognize it, maybe they did and they thought it was nothing. But end of the game, you might as well talk to the ref and try to get a goalie interference there. Maybe he did, and the refs blew him off. I don't know. But today there's people online on social media saying that it was definitely goalie interference. It shouldn't have been allowed. I don't know if it was kind of weak goalie interference. Did he kind of lock his arm down? Yeah, but I don't know. It is what it is. So the Flyers as a whole, they played a really good game. It really was, and it's sad because this is what they looked like during the regular season when they played the Hurricanes. They played them 4 times, right? 3 times they played the Hurricanes. 3 times it was super close. 3 times we went to overtime. Actually, 4 times, but the 4th one doesn't count because we were only playing a team of their 3rd and 4th liners. But 3 times we went to overtime, and 3 times the Flyers lost. So it's nothing new here. Like, the Flyers just can't get over this hump. They just can't get over the hump to beating the Carolina Hurricanes. And some people are going to say, hey, the Flyers aren't as good as the Hurricanes. And I don't know about that. And I know, call me crazy. Call me crazy. But 3 times our team played their team, and 3 times we took a contender all the way to overtime to lose in overtime. To me, that sounds like we're a pretty good team. We are a lot better than we're getting credit for. And if the Flyers could just find a way for someone on this team to get that extra goal, maybe to light the lamp one more time during the power play, Philly wins probably 3 of these games. I mean, it's crazy to think about it because yeah, I mean, they look like they get outplayed a lot, but Philly did really well. The Flyers did really, really well against this team. And yeah, Vladar stood on his head, but Anderson had to make 39 saves, or 36 saves. And I don't. I just think the Flyers are way better than they get credit for. We're going out there with a bunch of young guys, unseasoned guys, no playoff experience, and we took it at them here in Game 2. We took it at them, and this game could have went either way. And in matter of fact, at times I thought the Flyers would have won. They definitely had the opportunities, and there were times, obviously, Carolina could have won it too, but they didn't. So you know, 5 times we played these guys now, right? Five. Wait, yeah, 5 times we lost. We won one, lost four, and 6 times, right? 4-2, right? Six times. Won one, lost five, but we lost five. We lost four by one goal in overtime, and we basically crapped the bed with one game. That first playoff game, we lost 3-0. So Flyers again. I think they are on the right path. I think they're doing well. It was pretty cool to see the Barkey bump and Martone line. I know that line was negative -2 last night. There's talk obviously that they're going to get broken up, but I like that line. If you look at Bump, I think Bump played a really good game. I think Bump was one of the only players that was trying to skate that puck over the blue line, and like he had Svechnikov on his back like multiple times trying to skate down the ice across that blue line, and he didn't lose the puck. Like he held on to it. He tried to make something happen. He was definitely trying to skate it, in and not just throw it away. He was thinking possession, not giving it back to them. And he drew a penalty on Svechnikov because Svechnikov was riding his back and hooking him and stuff, trying to get him off the puck. So I give a lot of kudos for Bump not to get nervous and try to throw that puck away and to try to actually skate that puck into the zone. Uh, Denver Barkey, he's a dog, man. He's a dog on a bone. That kid's small as heck. Every time I see him, he looks like he's 15. And he's playing hard, man. He's skating, he's banging, he's like doing everything he can. He's really doing well. I watched him win a few face-offs, and I mean he's doing great. I really like that lineup. Martone, Martone's a little edgy. He hasn't been as relevant in this series. He definitely is a little slower. Like he's gotten the puck and he's gotten some ice space and he's trying to skate down the ice, and you can see he's like laboring to get down the ice. So he needs to do like exactly what Michkov's trying to have to do this summer, and get some skating classes in, work on those legs, try to get faster. But that line I liked it. Yeah, -2, I get it, but not a bad line for a bunch of rookies in the second round of the playoffs, in my opinion. I think there's a really good future for these kids. I saw Couturier had most shots on the team again last night. I think he had 5 again. Man, what can you say? So here's the one thing to think about. So Sean Couturier, he has a terrible year. I mean, the beginning of the year, it's terrible. Everyone's saying he's done. He's washed up. He needs to go. He's not worth the money we're spending. There's no way to get rid of him though, because no one wants his contract. We'd have to eat his contract if you, um, force him to retire, or waive him, get rid of him, whatever you call it. He, his salary cap stays on the books, so we're spending $6 million or something like that for like 7 years, something like that, to keep him. So obviously we're not going to do that. We would try to trade him, but everyone was mad. Everyone was mad. Like, he sucks. He's done. He's toast. And I said it too. He was definitely toast. He 100% was not a first line player. He wasn't a first line player for at least a year or two now. Torts had problems with him last year. He wasn't producing, and we all saw it and thought it was over. I don't know what Couturier did. I really don't, because he was moved to the fourth line and he was asked to be a role player. And he goes down to the fourth line, and all of a sudden he's playing really good. He's playing really good. He's hammering bodies. He's creating turnovers. He's getting scoring chances. He's creating scoring chances. So you start thinking about it and you think he's down on the fourth line doing this stuff. And he couldn't do that on the first line, though, right? He couldn't do that on the first line. So here we got this problem now where our best player on the ice, because of his big body and because of how hard he's hitting, he's getting in, he's creating turnovers, and he's controlling and possessing the puck deep in the Carolina Hurricane zone. And he's looking to try to get help. Like there's Grunstrom's coming in, or Hathaway, or um, Glendening, and he's not really able to create a lot of chances with those two there. So what do you do with Couturier? Do you look at what he's doing these last few games and think maybe it's time to bump him up to a line where he's got some guys on it that can actually produce? I mean, what's your thoughts? What do you all think? I'm half tempted to say, like, give it a whirl. Like, honestly, like, give it a whirl. You know, if he's the only one getting in there, creating the space and turnovers, then heck, man, give him some wingers that can actually, put up some numbers, and let's see if we can capitalize on his current play. And I mean, worst thing that happens is you do it for a period or whatever, and it doesn't look good. You put him back on the fourth line and start over, right? But I think I've seen enough over these last few games and the Pittsburgh games that Coots is forechecking, he's banging, he's creating turnovers, and he's getting the puck, and then he can't really find anybody because the talent he has around him, they just aren't there. So I'm not sure. I mean, maybe we bump him up, put him different wingers on his lines. I don't know, but it's a thought because Coots, in all honesty, he's looking really, really good, really, really good. TK's not. TK's still throwing bad passes back to the points, and when no one are there, TK's missing the net. TK is definitely stirring the pot and, like, pissing people off out there, which is important. But the production from TK isn't there, and I know he knows it. And again, he might be hurt. Everyone's talking that he's playing through injuries here, but I wish we had some TK here that from the past that scored, put pucks on net, scored, and we don't. And this series is, well, this last game has been really close. It's been really close without Tippett. These two games without Tippett, the first one we get blown out, the second one's really tight. If Tippett's in there, like, do we win that game? There's a chance. There's definitely a chance. So it's not over yet. I'm not throwing that tail in yet. I think the Flyers played a horrible game one. I think we all know they did. They know they did. I think Tocchet has done a fantastic job. I really do. I was hard on Tocchet at the beginning of the year because all we were seeing was this Mishkov drama, and I think that stemmed from Tocchet making it so obvious, and then Tocchet talking about it. I think definitely it was Mishkov's fault, but I just think it was handled really poorly by Tocchet, and I called him out back then for it. And but I'm going to tell you now, I think Tocchet's been fantastic for this team. Honestly, he looks like he's getting a lot out of this guys, a lot out of these lines, a lot out of this whole entire locker room, and he made some good decisions. After that first game, he made some really good decisions to change their style of play. Like they're change their playoff a little. I mean, or their power play a little bit. They're working the power play a little bit off the side instead of off the point. So they're moving the puck from the side. They're possessing it there. I was actually talking to my son and a couple of his friends when they were over watching the game, and I had said that I think I'd like to see the Flyers actually run a power play from like kind of like Gretzky's position behind the net. Maybe not there, but from behind the net, like either in the corner or wherever, but somewhere behind the net. I think we can get more juice out of it that way than throwing it to the point to two guys who refuse to shoot the puck. And yes, Jamie Drysdale scored on a power play, but it was because nobody was in front of him. He had a lot of open room. He skated in, took a wrist shot, and scored. I'm not taking that from him. He was there. He did the right thing. But most of the time, that's not the case. Most of the time, someone's in front of you. And Jamie Drysdale and Risto just don't shoot enough, man. They just don't shoot enough. So if you're running your power play from the point and you got two guys up there that refuse to shoot, it makes no sense. It's just it's just a waste of time, and that's why one of the reasons why our power play is so awful. So, and then if they do shoot, which I don't understand this either. There's one timers. You get a pass to you, don't stop it. You one time it right off the pass. That's not what happens. Risto's got to stop it, push it forward a little bit, think about it for a couple seconds. Waste a little bit of time. Not sure what he's going to do, and then he may wind up. But by that time, it either gets blocked or he doesn't wind up because someone's in front of him and he decides not to shoot and just throws it back to the side of the ice. So I think they should run that power play a little deeper in the zone and try to cycle down lower instead of cycling more up top. Anyhow, that's kind of what I see. But going back to Tocchet made some really good changes. He saw Barkey was really doing well on the center position. He changed it up. He decided to leave Barkey on center. He created a pretty good line, in my opinion. Even though they were -2, they had some chances in that young kids line, and he's pulling all the strings where they're definitely playing better. They're playing with a system. They put a lot of pressure in overtime, and it was just because we just couldn't finish. We just couldn't finish. I think we had two power plays, three power plays in overtime, and we couldn't finish, couldn't get a shot. I think I saw a stat, and don't hold me to this, but what do they have, like 6 power plays or something like that? And we were outshot shorthanded. The power play, we were outshot more by the Carolina Hurricanes on our power play than we had shots on net. I think we had 3 shots on net to like Hurricane 6 shots on our net during our power plays. It's nuts. Like, it just can't happen that way. They have to figure this out. Going over to Trevor Zegras. Man, this is a subject that you start talking about, and some people are going to say, you're nuts or you're crazy or this, that, the other thing. And it's okay, man. I'm okay with any feedback you all have. But Zegras, to me, right now, is not a playoff player. He is not built, in my opinion, to be a playoff player based on what we've seen so far. Zegras is afraid to get hit. He's afraid to throw a hard check. He has thrown his body a little bit, but you see he'll skate in the corner right into somebody, and like a little guy like TK or Barkey, they're like, bang, they'll smoke the guy. And then Zegras goes in, and then like last minute he just goes like a little nudge, and that's it, and he skates away. He's definitely scared to get hit. You can see him trying to like jump around not to get hit, and when he gets hit, he loses his temper. And I don't know, man. Like, Zegras has not many points. He's not living up to the hype. He's definitely he got moved off of center. He got moved to wing because he's not strong enough. I don't know if he'll ever be like this guy. I like him. I do. I like him. Regular season, he did great. But when it gets tough, there's less ice, and you have to fight for everything you have. I just do not see Zegras anywhere near the player he was during the regular season. And I don't think he has it in him, because it's not like you're either tough or you're not, if that makes sense. You either have, the fight in you like a Denver Barkey, or you don't. Size doesn't matter. TK, even Bobby Brink, right? He was a little too. And Zegras is big. He's not little, but he don't have any of that fight that those 3 guys have in him. Like, none of it. So I don't know. I'm calling Zegras out as my observation of a guy that we really need to produce, especially when Tippett's not in the lineup. And he's been very, very soft and very, very invisible. So we need to see more from Zegras. The Flyers shouldn't be paying him a ton of money if this is what they're going to do in the postseason. Because my expectation, and I think everybody's expectation moving forward now from this year forward, is the Flyers will make the playoffs every year. I think in the offseason, they're going to tweak the lineup a little bit more, get a little bit better. And the expectation is that these Flyers are going to hit the playoffs every year. And if Zegras can't play in the playoffs, he's just a liability then for us, right? Like he needs to get stronger. So I don't know if he can even beef up and if his brain will let him feel that he's bigger, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like there are big guys who are still soft because they're just soft players. They just don't have that guts. And beefing Zegras up, I still think he's soft. He hasn't showed me anything that would make me think otherwise to this point. So I hope he realizes this. I hope it's being addressed. I hope, Tockett's talking with him, trying to show him some tape. I watched him pull off guys like all day yesterday. I watched him go into the corner, like thinking, all right, he's going to smoke this dude and take the puck. And he didn't. He like little nudge or he bounced off the guy and, he got knocked out of the play. He got knocked down. Like he just is soft. It's so soft and it's sad. So I don't know here, guys. Like everyone likes Zegras, I do too, but I just wish he was something different. Definitely wish he was something different, and I wish he had some guts like Barkey and Brink and TK had, because he's got so much skill that if he had just a little of that, he'd have some points. He'd have a lot more points in these playoffs. So anyhow, the Carolina Hurricanes, they were 3 stars in the game, man. They were Taylor Hall was the first star, and Nikolai Ehlers was the second star. Seth Jarvis was the third star. Flyers didn't get any stars in the top 3 for this game. Vladdy played well. Vladdy played really good. I think he had a really good game. I wouldn't say he was like superstar material, but he definitely was close. He kept the Flyers in it. The Carolina Hurricanes had a lot of opportunities, and Vlad made some really, really good saves down throughout those 4 periods of hockey. I wish he could have made that last one, and I'm sure he did too. But next game is going to be Thursday night. My son and I will be down there again watching this one, so hopefully we can get a win at home. What do they say? Like you're something about the season ain't over until you win a game, an away game. So the Flyers are still in this thing. The first game was a fluke. Second game I think could have went either way. I'm hoping the third game the Flyers play just as hard and maybe Tippett's back in the lineup and he can give us a little boost on offense. So until Friday, probably, because I'll be down that game on Thursday night. We'll do another show on Friday. If you have anything you want to talk about, if you have any feedback on what your thoughts are on this game, on that young Barkey bump and Martone line, or the comments that I made about Zegras, send me an email, hattrickspodcast99@gmail.com. Please like and subscribe. Find us on YouTube. Subscribe. Give us a listen. If you're listening, I see there's a lot of people listening, but, like and subscribe. Please, give us a like and subscribe. We'd love to see everybody do that for us. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and Facebook. So until Thursday night, let's go Flyers. Let's pull off a win at home and get this series 2-1.